Hey. Alright guys, it's your boy Twisty. And today's video, because I'm trying to bring out some more content, as always, whenever I can think of stuff. Because I don't want to post videos just for the sake of it. Just to fill in that whole YouTube, everyone's every 24 hours quota that YouTubers seem to have. I'm only going to post content that I feel like is actually worth it for you guys. So, um, I think Reefy made a video talking about how you can get a lot of crystals from being free to play. And he even said it on the stream that one of the mistakes that he made was assuming that everyone is in Conqueror Arena. And you do get a decent amount of crystals from Conqueror. You can get like 600 at least a month just from being in Conqueror 1, I think. And hopefully, if you're free to play, you ideally do not have to refill. And in the recent video that I just posted before this, I refilled like once to try and get into Conqueror 2. I didn't really need to. It just kind of helped solidify. And you're gonna see the rank that I get here. So what we're gonna talk about is how to get into Conqueror. And I've been playing this game for probably nearly 2 years. Like I'm like a year and a half probably at this point, like a year and a couple of months, year like maybe year to 7 months. Um, and I've only just got into Conk 2, and there you are. Let's take a quick screenshot for the banter. And that's 200 crystals right there just from getting Conk 2, which is pretty helpful. I've been saving up just from like doing like different things. But I'm always like kind of relatively mana broke for my level, and I just recently 6-starred chilling as well. Please don't look at this this score here. I'm just doing this to burn through the energy. So, we're gonna start talking about AO. I know everyone thinks, oh, let's talk about AD, but I found it the hard way that if you can't actually beat anyone in arena, it doesn't matter how good your defense is, you're never gonna rank up. You have to be able to beat teams, and you have to be able to. It's a will rune. I can't do necros, so maybe I'll keep that one in. Chance I probably won't use that, but maybe on like maybe Triton's based on defense, so it could be useful on him just to save the will runes. So let's talk about AO. So because I was mentioning that you need to have an AO team, you need to have strong AO teams to be able to beat defenses and most of the defenses that you'll see, right? So let's talk about first of all what types of AOs we have. Let's just quickly. Did I actually get any? Yeah, because I didn't get hit that much. That was my Conqueror rank. Ooh, shit! Everyone's gonna be going for Guardian this week. She's good as well. She's very good as well. A lot of people are gonna be trying to go for Guardian just for Thrain because he's one of the better dot monsters. I've already got him. But a lot of people are gonna be going for him. So, arena offenses. So there's primarily 4 arena offenses that most players are gonna use. I'm going to talk about the ones which most people are not going to be able to have just for now. So we're going to start off with bombs. Bombs are an extremely strong arena offense, and to be honest, they're more endgame. You'll see why they're endgame because the rune requirements are pretty high. So a bomb team is just quite simply Ciara, who has her own leader skill as well. And then you require any other bomber. So my bomber is actually Malaka, and this team is not properly synced because I speed synced my Ciara with my Perna for my defense, just to be more annoying. This guy needs more speed, but let's not get into that as much. So you require Ciara, so that's why this is quite a difficult offense to make, because if you don't have Ciara, then you can't hit a lot of Veramos defenses or any defenses with a cleanser. So that's why you definitely need Ciara to be able to be speed tuned to blow up those bombers straight away. You also pretty much need buff removal. It's not always necessary, but you cannot go into a fight in arena and expect to, unless you can 100% outspeed most of the Chloes, then it's pointless. Without trying to do this offense without buff removal. Most defenses, especially the Conqueror range, where you're trying to get into Conqueror or like the Fighter 3 range, will have a lot. You see a lot of Chloe. You see a lot of Chloe. So you have to have buff removal to do this properly. Having monsters like Galleon or Megan can be also very useful. The problem that I found with my team when I'm trying to use it is that it's not speed tuned. If it was speed tuned, then it wouldn't be a big issue. But like I was outspeed teams with my Megan, and Megan's not built purposely really fast. You know, that's like 226 speed or something. And we're still outspeeding Chloe's because the Chloe's are not even that fast. And it kind of ruins everything because then Chloe goes in between my units. If this team was speed tuned, then it'd be a lot easier. But you definitely need to have buff removal most of the time unless your units are properly speed tuned. So bombs are amazing for arena offense because you do not trigger nemesis runes when you put the bombs on, and they also stun after doing damage. So anyone you don't kill will be stunned, but we all know that Fear Marks and the monster is going to violent proc out of a stun. But bombs are probably one of the top tier AOs. The only problem with bombs is that you rely on resistance and accuracy. That's the main issue with bombs. Getting the team speed tuned is actually not that big of a deal. I should probably bring down the speed of my other units just to make them as slow as like Sierra and Malacca. But then other units are going to go loops on me. But I don't use bombs as a main AO. But I have the option to be able to when I get the runes. So yeah, that's the main issue with bombs. It's not 100% consistent because you rely entirely on accuracy. And also, getting bombers, I mean, you can use Jojo, but Jojo's base attack is not that great. And a lot of people, like, I'll show you his base attack, because there should be a comment somewhere. And he is really a hit or miss unit when it comes to bombing. He's considered, to be honest, to be the weakest bomber. I mean, he is fumble, so it's sort of understandable, but he is super weak, and I really don't suggest building him. The only reason I build some of them is to look at his base attack at just a level 35, and then we'll see someone who has look at that 659 base attack. That is really bad when you consider a monster like Sierra has 801 and Malacca has. I mean, like, Malacca has like 812 base attack. He really is that far down. I mean, like, Lucian's like 900. He is pretty far down with base attack, so he's considered, to be honest, to be the worst bomber. So you basically need decent summons. You need good summons and Sierra on top of it to be able to use bombs. So that's bombs kind of covered. Most of you not going to be able to do it, and if you have bombers and you have the options to, I highly suggest building a bomb team. Especially if you don't have Galleon. So in my situation, I'm trying to work on my bomb team. I just don't have the runes to be able to do it. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to build a team that I know I can't build. But I am searching for those faithful runes to be able to speed up of all my units. So the next team I'm going to talk about is the Wombo team. And you may have seen this in a lot of players when they used to play before the tank meta, before the arena meta and the tank builder meta. And you need Galleon for this. You absolutely require Galleon for Wombo. Some people may disagree, but to have the proper damage, you need a defense break and an attack buff. And there's only one unit in the game who does both of those on the same term, and that is Galleon. It's the only monster that does that on the same term. And on top of that, Galleon does not trigger Nemesis rings, making Galleon even more powerful. So basically, you require Galleon and 2 nukers. And you can even use 3 nukers if you know they don't have will runes. If they have will runes, if they have a Chloe, then you have to bring buff removal. And that's where this team gets a bit more difficult, because if you don't have buff removal, I mean, the only Natfall buff removal is Soha and Aquila, which some people do have, but we can't assume that everyone has buff removal for Wombo. And we also can't assume that everyone has Galleon. I don't have Galleon. Galleon, for me, would be absolutely game-changing. Just because if you look at the units I have AoE units. I don't have a fire AoE. I do have him though, who can be considered a decent AoE unit, and also Sigmaris and Tael. But Galleon for me will be game changing, just for my arena offense. So Wombo's quite difficult to pull off. I honestly do believe you need Galleon. If you don't have Galleon, then you have to use like Megan and Lure. You have to use 2 units, and you only get 1 nuker or 2 nukers if they don't have will runes. But as you push into Conqueror, especially like Conqueror 1 and Fighter 3, you're gonna see a lot of Chloes. So unless you can outspeed them, which you can't do, I mean you can bring a speed lead. I guess you could bring like an AoE team and with Galleon, and you have to bring a speed monster like Bernard and outspeed the Chloe. But then you'd have to have it all unit speed tune. It's harder to do. Wombo usually requires buff removal. But it's not necessary, but it definitely requires Galleon. But Wombo is incredible, and the reason why is it's consistent. The reason why Bombs is great, but if Ciara dies for whatever reason, say if Theomar's one-shot Ciara, and they happen to have a Veramos on the team, then you've basically lost the fight straight away. Whereas a Wombo, say, it kind of relies on Galleon, but if, say, your Akimir dies, or your Zeros dies, and you still have another nuker to be able to wipe out some of the monsters on the enemy team, and then from then you're fighting like a 3v2, 3v3 battle, so it's not as bad. But with Bombs, if Ciara dies for whatever reason, say Perna one-shot Ciara through all your will runes and shield runes, then you're gonna have an issue. But Wombo is definitely the most common used offense once you get into Guardian, but in Conqueror level, it's pretty hard to make. Most people don't have the runes or the monsters to be able to do it, but if you do, I highly suggest getting those runes and using it. Also, Wombo, you need to have will runes. Bombs, you kind of need will runes as well, but it's not completely necessary. But Wombo, you definitely do, because Wombo usually does not use a speed lead, or a speed team. So that's not what Wombo combo is. So the next team we're going to talk about is Lucians. This is a team that I run. Now, the problem is with my team is that I did not properly speed sync the Lucians. So when I get to 3 rune removal again, I'm going to speed sync the Lucians. I'm going to reduce the damage a little bit, but I'm trying to get them speed synced so that they're not going to get interrupted. So this obviously requires 2 Lucians. Now, not everybody has 2 Lucians. You can use single DPS Lucian, but most of the time you're not going to be hitting insane amounts of damage. 2 Lucians is probably the way to go. And obviously you use Bernard. Bernard's farmable, so it's not a big issue. And you can also use Seek, Chloe, and Megan. Those are the main ones we see using Lucians. So I always thought about this way as well. One of the questions that everyone always asks is, why would I use Seek? Why don't I just use the Water Horus or other units like that? Or the Quilla, the Wind Brownie? And the reason Seek is used is to bring that fire damage to kill fire units like Kumar, kill units like Velajul, Vanessa. I don't know if everyone can think of fire units. Perna, for example. Units that sometimes can actually solo Lucians or just create a big issue. And the rune requirements to be able to use Bernard Lucian Seek are pretty high. You need solid speed. You need like 200 speed on all units and 220 speed on Seek. And it's pretty hard to do and as well as keeping your Lucian damage high. So personally, I tried to build that team. I 6-starred Seek. I'm planning to use him in the future, but at the moment he's just kind of not even properly ruined. I'm planning to use Bernard Lucian Seek, but at the moment I'll use Bernard Lucian Megan. And you can also use Chloe, but the reason I use Megan is she brings attack buff, and she also increases the attack bar. So it reduces the speed that I need the Lucians to be. And with Bernard and Megan, a lot of players get confused with the attack bars. And there's a Reddit post about it. I'll try and link it in the description. But basically with Bernard and Megan, you need to have units at 64% of Bernard's speed. It's actually not like 80% of Megan's. That's not how the attack bar properly works, okay? And like with Bernard and Orion, you need to have units at 59%. of Bernard's speed, something along those lines, like 60%. And like the Water Inferno only has a 4% difference to Bernard with the speed. So it gets a bit confusing sometimes, but basically you want to try and make sure no units go between your Lucians, because the moment like Chloe's and Bernard's go between my Lucians, like they go before my Lucians go, because my Lucians are not probably speed tuned. So what that means is that when my Lucians do get a turn, yes, we one-shot most of the units, but they have chances to stun with Veramos or to kill someone with Theomars, and Theomars always has to go for the Lucian that isn't stunned by Veramos. It's kind of crazy. So you can use Chloe to protect units. Chloe's great. The only problem with that is that you lose the... If you're running Chloe, there's no point running Bernard. So you either run one or the other. And if you run Chloe, you can make your Lucian super slow, but it also reduces the number of ADs that you can attack. So you can't attack any teams with buff removal, so you can't attack Praha, you can't attack Chiru. You also lose the leader of Bernard, which, you know, can make the difference sometimes in fights, but you do lose this leader if you run Chloe. So there's that to take into consideration as well. So those are the Lucians. Lucians are still heavily used in Arena, and that's why you'll see teams built to counter Lucians. You'll see teams built with Kumar, Perna, Vanessa, 2 or 3 fire units purely just to stop Lucians or to deter Lucians from attacking. And I can honestly say, if you guys in fighter, just because you've got fire monsters on your defense doesn't mean that someone's not going to Lucian you. Like, I Lucian loads of defenses with Pernas, Vanessas, Kumars, and out of those 3, like, Perna only wins by a violent procs, and Kumar really only wins if my Lucians get like constantly resisted on the heal block. And if we can heal block Kumar, then it's an easy kill. So it's really not that consistent just to put fire units and assume that you're going to have to take down Lucians. Kumar is the one main unit who can solo Lucians for opening defense. So if you got him, I suggest putting it on and making him really tanky, and he'll solo Lucians for you. As long as you're able to kill off other units like Seek, then you should be okay. So now we're going to talk about the main... Do we know what time it is on this? Does it say? Well, we're still recording, so we're okay. So the main offense that you guys are going to use in Conqueror is 1 to 2 nukers and supports. So I'll show you one of the offenses that I use. Let's just refresh. And you can actually auto sometimes with these teams. I usually use the Lucians. We can actually Lucian that. We need to... Okay. Let's just hit one of these. And I'll just auto it. And what you do is you run 1 to 2 nukers, and then you run supports. So, like, farmable units, you can have Veramos to stun and cleanse, and you can have Bella to defense break and heal. And then you can also... I have Vertiheal, so I run Vertiheal to get turn advantage, but you can run Bernard to get turn 1. And then you run like a nuker, like Theomars is farmable, so you can run Theomars. You can run... I've got Perna, so I run Perna. And the idea is you basically want to speed tune this AO. And you want to attack teams that either don't have many threats or only have 1 threat, like Theomars. So, for example, a team like this is something you want to attack with this type of team. I don't have Theomars, so I'm not going to try and do this because Perna's probably not going to crit against Theomars. And what you're going to do is you're going to just kill the threat on the team and keep your support, your nukers alive. So you can use 1 nuker, you can use 2. Personally, if I was doing it farmable wise, I would do like Theomars, Veramos lead, Theomars, Bernard, and then Bella. That's probably the farmable way to go. So if you guys are wondering, and just make sure that Theomars is strong enough to be able to one-shot units when he violent procs, and keep Veramos and Bella on Nemesis, and Bernard just make him super fast, and he should be okay. That's kind of like a early game AO. The only problem is with that AO is that it's slow. So you can't use this really on Arena Reset unless you're starting Arena Reset like 2 hours before. It's just going to take so long to kill the enemy team, that it's going to be a pain in the ass, but I mean, if you guys want to do it, go for it for sure. So, from all of these four offenses that I've talked about, one thing you need to consider is having will runes on your offense, and also shield runes too. Shield runes are not always necessary, but if you do not have will runes on your offense, then you're going to be struggling to kill off the Nemesis Veramos teams, which are quite common as you push higher into Conqueror. And trying to push into Conqueror, sometimes you'll see Nemesis Veramoses, but not most teams do not have Nemesis runes, just because they are in Necro, which is kind of like an end game arena and PvP system. But will runes are pretty crucial. I would not try and sacrifice stats to get will runes. That's one of the mistakes you can make is, oh, I need to put will runes on this unit because this guy said, so I'll sacrifice like 20 speed just to get will runes. No, that's not what we want to do. If you don't have the ability to run will runes properly, then what you want to do is run speed. You want to run Bernard, you want to outspeed them and go first and you come down and speed tune your team so that you can take them out. So that is what you want to do if you cannot afford to have will runes on your team. So for example, my Chiru, I can put will runes on him because I happen to have these will runes which sort of fit for Chiru. I mean, the bottom two stats here are not ideal, but the speed is pretty useful. And then this will rune, of course, fits Chiru pretty nicely as well. The crit damage is not necessary, but the defense is nice to have. It just makes him a bit more tanky. Somehow, oh yeah, we're on Lucian now. That explains that. So he's got nearly 30k HP. It's not that bad, and he's got decent speed as well. I wanted decent speed and accuracy on my Chiru. So with regards to the 1 to 2 nukers and supports team, you can also run a reviver. So I can show you against this guy we were pondering about. So what I'm going